And Renee, please show all board members present, with the exception of Ms. Kraft and Mr. Hall. And if you'll join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good evening, Ms. Bojorquez.
Good evening.
And I understand we have some board salutes tonight, so
We
would you mind
do.
taking us through those?
As you can.
Thank you.
First, actually, this is our only salute. We have some more on the next meeting agenda, but tonight we're going to salute North Haven Elementary. The board salutes North Haven for being recognized by the Indiana Department of Education as a school of promising practice for the effective implementation of the school's annual World Fest. North Haven Elementary's promising practice is one of 200 education or wraparound service programs to be recognized by the department in honor of Indiana's bicentennial celebration. Identified programs, like North Haven's, are student-centered and focus on positively impacting students through innovative programming and activities that provide a high-quality learning environment and experience. The annual World Fest is an event that exposes students and teachers to culture from around the world, including those they encounter daily at school throughout the student population. North Haven's promising practice has been shared with educators across the state as an example for all Hoosier schools. The board would like to recognize the following individuals for their role in making the World Fest a success. Please come forward when your name is read. Dr. Kim Hartledge, you're on there too? Yes. Kelly Deere. Laura Morris. I don't see her, but Miss Tanya Brading. Beth Valentine. Tracy Tabor.
Thank you so much.
Diego Flores. And Megan Conklin.
First of all, I don't think people fully understand there were 200 promising practices identified by the Indiana Department of Education in the state of Indiana. And two of those 200 were integrated part-time schools. And one, obviously, is North Haven Elementary. So this is a pretty special honor for the state to recognize the level of commitment that you've made to really draw attention to the fact that we have a very diverse school system. North Haven Elementary, I think I've coined the phrase, the United Nations of Elementary Schools. You know, it doesn't take long to walk in there and figure out that there are kids that come from all walks of life. It's a great place to be. Also has its challenges as well because of the different cultures and languages and so on. I just want to congratulate you because you approach your work, the whole North Haven staff approaches its work with those kids on a daily basis, ready to do whatever it takes to help those students overcome whatever the challenges are that they're facing to help them succeed. I see it every time I'm there. You do it consistently. We have leadership from the top all the way through the organization. The students of North Haven and parents are very, very lucky to have such a great educated staff. So on behalf of the school board, our executive team, just thank you for being such great ambassadors for your school and our community. So thank you so much.
And you are more than welcome to stay around for the meeting tonight, or if you would like to go do other stuff, this would be a great time, so. Great job, congratulations. All right, next we have the approval of the agenda for tonight. Any changes? Anyone? Dr. Mellon?
No, none tonight.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. White.
Second.
And thank you, Ms. Perkins. Any questions, comments on agendas? All in favor? B50, thank you. Next is the approval of the minutes from previous meetings. I'd like to take those together, executive, regular, and special.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Perkins.
Second.
And thank you, Ms. Zolman. Any questions, comments on minutes? All right, all in favor? B50, thank you. Public comments on agenda items. I don't believe we have any
None
tonight.
tonight.
Okay, all right, thank you. Next is the consent agenda. We have 6 items tonight. I'd like to take those together.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Perkins.
Second.
And thank you, Mr. White. Any questions on consent tonight? All right, all in favor? B50, thank you. Let's see, Ms. Gilkey, would you be so kind as to take us through gifts to buildings?
Yes, sir, I will.
Thank you.
2 pages. Woohoo! $34,195. I saw a 10,000, 5,000, several large donations. So we just are always very appreciative of our community and the people who believe in what we're doing and want to help us help our kids. So thank you to everyone who gave this month. And with that, I would like to move to approve the gifts to buildings.
All right, thank you.
I will second.
And thank you, Ms. Zolman. Comments, questions? All right, all in favor? B50, thank you. Moving into action items tonight, we have, looks like 14 action items tonight. And the first one is policy 3411, military service credit. This is second reading. And Dr. Mellon?
Thank you, Board. I will try to fill in for Mrs. Lewis, who had another commitment this evening. But this is the military service policy that was in place prior to us transitioning to Neola. And if you remember, you as a board did a lot of good work on this policy. And when we found that it was not in Neola, we felt it was critical that it get into policy. And so for tonight, I'd like to recommend approval of policy 3411, military service credit, as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Gilkey.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Perkins. Second reading, so we do have action tonight. So any questions, comments on that policy? All right, all in favor? B50, thank you. Next is policy 8531, school meals charging. This is first reading tonight, so we won't have any action.
Board, again, just would like you to take a look at this. We've had a meal charging policy in place in this district that's been very helpful. And again, when we transitioned to Neola, this specific policy was not there. And we felt in review that this is a policy that should continue to be part of what we do in terms of policy in our district. So it's here for first reading. Please review it and let either myself or Mrs. Lewis know if you have any questions, and we'll bring it back in a month for a second reading.
All right, thank you. Next is the authorization to dispose of 2 school buses. Dr. Dykle, good evening.
Good evening. I'm so excited about this one. We can finally get rid of these 2 buses that have been sitting there for 2 years at Whitman. The administration is requesting permission to declare as surplus and dispose bus number 001, a 2000 International bus. I won't read the VIN number. I'll leave that as part of the record. And also bus number 95-4, a 1995 International bus, again with the VIN number. Both buses were totaled in an accident at Parkview Middle School on August 8th, 2014. We've been waiting for our insurance company to give us the approval to dispose of them. These buses have been sitting at our Whitten facility in Charlestown for the past 2 years. We've been given approval to dispose of them. So because of the condition that they're in, I'd just like to junk them as surplus. I mean, just sell them for scrap. That's what we want to do.
All right. All right, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. White.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Gilkey. Any questions for Dr. Dykle on the buses?
That we've been collecting storage fees for?
I just want to get the space back.
All right. All in favor? Be 5-0. Thank you. Next is the property and casualty insurance renewal.
Yes, on this one, our contract for property and casualty expired on July 1st, but we still had coverage. They still bound us, so you don't have to worry about that. But it was due to, we were discussing our renewal package. Nice Lukens has quoted our insurance coverage with other companies, which is something that we wanted them to do. And the consensus is to stay with our current insurance company, Liberty Mutual, at their low quote of $605,267. This is an increase of $1,192 over last year's premium. The individual lines are as follows. Our package policy is $227,612. That's the property, inland marine, crime. That decreased $864. General liability is $170,238, decreased by $1,742. Commercial auto, $149,938, an increase of $2,944. Our umbrella for $34,914, an increase of $316. And now I'm throwing in our cyber liability. Last year was our first year that we had that in case somebody hacks into our system. That was an increase of $538 or $22,565. So we're asking permission to go ahead and approve this.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Gilkey.
Second.
And thank you, Ms. Perkins. Questions for Dr. Dykle? Just one. Terrorism, we rejected that. Is that pretty standard practice among school districts?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to waste money if I don't have to, and I don't
Yeah.
think anybody's going to come in and do something to our schools, so.
Yeah, I was just curious on whether or not that was pretty much what other school systems did, or, okay. All right. Okay. Further questions? All in favor? Be 5-0. Thank you. Next is the dental insurance renewal.
Yes, the Greater Clark County School Corporation annually renews the group dental insurance. This year, we again asked Assured Partners, Nice Lukens, to look at quoting out our insurance, and we got proposals from Humana and Delta Dental. The insurance committee is recommending to you all the Delta Dental as the better network provider for the voluntary dental insurance based on their low quote, increase in benefits, and a smooth transition for our employees. Delta Dental will increase the lifetime orthodontic maximum from $1,000 to $1,500, and the calendar year maximum will also increase from $1,000 to $1,500. Dental implants were not covered in the Humana plan, but now will be covered up to 50% subject to the annual maximum. The voluntary dental insurance premiums will decrease by 2.94% with increases in coverage and includes a 2-year rate guarantee. Staff members taking the dental plan will see more coverage with a savings on the individual premiums per the attached sheet, which you have attached there. So this was real good. We were able to increase our benefits and still came in with almost a 3% decrease in premiums.
And you're getting rid of 2 buses,
Yeah,
so.
and that could pay for at least 1 month's premium almost.
All right, thank you, Dr. Dykle. All right, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Perkins.
Second.
And thank you, Ms. Ullman. I think I heard first.
I did when she did.
Oh, all right, I'm sorry, it's Ms.
She
Gilkey.
beat me.
Okay,
She's faster than me.
all right. Questions on the dental?
I do have 2 questions. One is, I know a lot of times Humana offers decreases in the health insurance when we offer their ancillary products such as dental, disability, et cetera. So is this going to impact our bottom line on our Humana?
No, that's why we haven't done Humana yet. We haven't done our health or our vision. That'll be coming hopefully next board meeting. Assured Partners, Nice Lukens is negotiating with them. We've given them direction in our insurance meeting, what to go after. There's a couple things that we can actually negotiate on, and that's what we're trying to negotiate. Claims, we have to pay the claims, whatever comes through.
Right.
But like the reinsurance, the fixed costs, things of that nature, those are things that we can negotiate with Humana. And because of our clinic doing so well, I think we have a lot of ammunition now that we can throw at Humana. So hopefully tomorrow we'll get an answer as far as what we want to see in our numbers.
Okay.
We'll see.
And also, I brought up another concern to Dr. Mellon when we were setting the agenda, not with Delta Dental as a company or as a provider or claims payer or anything, but the only negative I've heard sometimes is, and it's not in the size of their network, but that a lot of their providers are full. So if I'm having to transition from a Humana provider who is not on Delta Dental, am I going to have a good availability to pick and choose from?
Yeah, we did check, right, Donna? And Donna was looking it up as we were talking about it, and they have an excellent network.
But what I'm saying is, when you pick up the phone to call those doctors, are they accepting new patients?
That I don't know. We just looked to see what dentists were in the network.
Right.
And there's a lot of dentists that are local.
Okay,
So I can't answer that for sure.
yeah. Well,
That
that's
every
my
one
only
of-
concern.
Yeah, that every one of them would accept a patient if they needed to. I don't know.
I don't have the dental plan, but I know that's been an issue. I just want to make sure all of our employees don't have a problem if they have to transition, getting into a doctor that is accepting patients.
There
That's
was
my only
a-
concern.
There was Assured Partners did a real detailed network analysis, and it came out of all the different providers that were being considered, the Delta
Had the best network.
network provider list was the most extensive. So we're not anticipating an issue for our employees. I hope it'll even be more flexible for them, is what we're anticipating.
I would hope
But
so.
we really won't know until, we start getting complaints if somebody says, I can't get into this doctor or that doctor, and they're close by, and
Right.
I have to go 10 miles out of my way or something. We don't know.
Wasn't it, and I hope I'm not getting this wrong, but wasn't it that the analysis was every provider that we currently use is in the network? So,
Okay. So most of our employees won't have to transition. Okay, that was my concern.
Sorry,
Okay,
I thought that was the case, but
okay, good. Thank you.
good question, though.
All right, further questions? Okay, all in favor? B50, thank you. Next is the food service agreement addendum.
Yes, in the current 5-year agreement, we're in our second 5-year agreement with Aramark. There's a clause that allows Aramark to ask for an increase in the general administrative expense and the management fee charged by Aramark to Greater Clark County schools, and it's not to exceed the cost of living for the past year. Last year, the cost of living was 2.9%. But Aramark is only asking for a 1% increase in their general administrative expense and in their management fee. Currently, the general and administrative fee is 10 cents per meal served, and the management fee is 4 cents per meal. So what this will do, the 10 cents will go to .1010, so it's 10 cents and a tenth. And then the 4 cents on the management fee will go to 4 cents and a .04. So we felt that that was realistic, so every year I will come back before you and ask for permission to increase that fee. We'll negotiate with Aramark, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to come in with a very small fee increase. I was looking at Natalie there. So we're asking permission to increase it by the 1% for both of those.
Okay,
So moved.
thank you, Ms. Perkins.
Second.
And thank you, Ms. Solman. Questions for Dr. Dykle on the food service agreement?
Just to clarify, Dr. Dykle, for the record, whereas Indiana school systems these days tend to be having major budget constraints, our food service department is turning a profit.
Yes.
So we can pay for this increase?
Correct.
Okay,
It won't hurt us.
gotcha. Thank you.
All right, further questions? All in favor? B50, thank you. Next is the Ref Pay LLC agreement, and Dr. Griffin, good evening.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. In the past, the way we've paid our referees at sporting events, we've prepared checks in advance, and there's been some instances that occur where whether it be at the last minute or for other reasons, those referees couldn't make it, or they sent someone in their place, which caused us to have to destroy that check, create another one. And in the age we're in, a lot of electronic banking that's taking place, we feel like this would be a more efficient way to help take care of that. So arbiter pay from Ref Pay LLC should alleviate those problems, since the athletic director can pay the officials immediately after the game through an app on his or her cell phone using the funds in our Ref Pay account. There is a small transaction fee associated with each approved payment, and Ref Pay will issue the 1099 at the end of the year to each payee. We do feel like this will be a lot more seamless and easy for both the referee and our athletic director. So the superintendent does recommend that we approve the agreement with Ref Pay LLC.
Okay, thank you.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Gilkey,
Second.
and thank you, Mr. White. Questions for Dr. Griffin? Ref Pay. Okay, I have one.
Okay.
Transaction fees, do we have an idea of what that, I mean, are we budgeted out for that? Is that going to be
Yes, and as I've talked to Dr. Dykle and our high school athletic directors too, we do feel like that it's pretty much a wash between the processing that we do with the paper checks and what it would cost to process through Ref Pay. Yes, sir.
All right. All right, further questions? All in favor? B50, thank you. Next is the Ivy Tech Professor on Loan contract, Jeffersonville High School.
Yes, sir. A contract is being recommended for Mr. John Herfel. He does serve as a professor on loan from Ivy Tech. He teaches advanced business management, business law and ethics, and honors economics dual credit classes at Jeff High School. Ms. Lewis has reviewed this contract, and the superintendent does recommend approval of the contract for Mr. Herfel, professor on loan.
All right, thank you.
So moved.
All right, thank you, Ms. Perkins.
Second.
And thank you, Mr. White. We have questions for Dr. Griffin? We've done this, has this been like every year?
Yes,
It's
yes,
just
sir. This
sort
is
of
a renewal. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Okay, I was thinking that was the case.
One of the things I just add is, from a curriculum perspective, we're working hard on that early college program and providing opportunities for students to earn the associate's degree and so on. And so both at Charlestown High School and at Jeff High School, we take advantage of this opportunity. It is really relatively cost-effective to do it. We're bringing in top-notch instructors, and it's a way to make sure that we are offering those students in both of those schools the opportunity to earn those dual credits that they need to help earn that associate's degree. So it's a good balance, and it's a good partnership with Ivy Tech as well.
Move to approve.
All right, thank you, Ms. Gilkey.
Second.
And thank you, was that Ms. Ullman? All right, thank you, Ms. Ullman. Further questions on Professor on Loan?
Yeah,
We already had a
did
motion
that.
and a
Oh, did we already do that?
Well, I thought we did. Okay. All right, well, I guess we're ready to vote then, so. All right, all in favor? B50. Thank you for keeping me straight on that, so.
I've been in school all day. I have an excuse.
I'm just playing along, so. All right. Next is the Joint Services Agreement, and Ms. Schneff, good evening.
Good evening. What I have for you is a joint service agreement. You sign this every year. However, this year it is different. This is the last year for our co-op, and within that agreement, we've made some major changes. We've really taken all the services back to Greater Clark, and then what we're doing with each of the districts is contracting services to them based on their December 1 count last year. So it's a different model for providing the services. It's kind of our transition model. So that for the following year, each district will have their own, they will take care of their own money, they'll supervise their own programs, and yet Greater Clark still will provide, if they choose, to have some contracted services through us. I think it's kind of a nice stepping stone for making this transition. I'm very excited about it. We've also asked, I'm very excited about it, let me tell you. We've also asked each of the districts by January to let us know if they're going to continue those contracts, or if they're not, then we'll have fair notice in order to make some changes within our staffing.
Okay. All right, do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
All right, thank you, Mr. White,
Second.
and thank you, Ms. Perkins. Questions, comments on the joint services agreement? Well, I'd like to say thanks. I know all the work that you've put into this, and it's been sort of a long time coming, so. Yeah. Years, right.
I think
so.
we had this conversation 15 years ago at least.
We did. All right. All in favor? Be 5-0. Thank you.
Mr. President, forgive me. I know we had a motion and a second twice on the last item, but did we actually take a vote?
We did.
We did?
We did.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
We're in a time warp right now.
Ooh, thank you. Moving on.
You're trying to. All right. New Hope agreement.
Yeah. This is an agreement with New Hope. It's a little bit, it's a renewal in a way, but it's a little different. We're going through their ACES program, and that really allows us to place students who are transitioning into the world of work with New Hope, with the idea of not only giving them training within the sheltered setting, but then our ultimate goal is to get those kids out into the community. And this is just, there's a slight increase in fee, but other than that, it's the same.
Okay.
Move to approve.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Gilkey.
Second.
And thank you, Ms. Ullman. Questions, comments on the New Hope agreement? All right. All in favor? Be 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is the pest control agreement. Dr. Hare, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Pavey and Board. This is pretty straightforward. We've used Mr. Pest Control to provide our pest services at all of our locations since 2006. We went out and requested quotes. We received 2 other quotes. Mr. Pest submitted their lowest and most responsive quote and will continue to charge us $580 per month through July 31st, 2018. So at this point in time, the superintendent would recommend approval to extend the contract with Mr. Pest for pest control services at the rate of $580 a month for all locations through July 31st, 2018.
All right, thank you. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Perkins.
Second.
And thank you, Ms. Gilkey. Questions on pest control agreement?
Have we been pleased with
Very
their?
much, very much. They come in and work weekends for us. Yeah, we're very pleased with what they do.
So does this cover routine maintenance plus any time we want to have them come back? Or
If there
does that cost?
No, ma'am, if there's extra, there are additional fees. This is to
Okay.
cover, this is the monthly cost.
The monthly
And then if
cost.
we have something special, we'll have them come out and do those types of things. Then they do it at an extra rate. But that's what all the providers
Okay.
would do.
Okay. All right, further questions? If not, all in favor? Be 5-0. Thank you. Next is the bond projects 2016 release for bid.
Yes, sir. Mr. Pavey, this time I'm going to ask Jamie Lake with Covert Hawkins to come up and join me. Board, just real quickly, what were background information? What Mr. Lake is going to be talking about is the Bridgepoint Elementary roof replacement, Charlestown High School roof replacement, the Parkwood Elementary addition and renovations, and the Pleasant Ridge roof replacement, the Utica roof replacement. I've laid some documents on the table there in front of you that he's going to go over. I've asked him to share kind of the scope of work, and then at the end, I'll come back with the recommendation and take it for a vote. Is that all right with you, Mr. Pavey?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mr. Lake.
Hi, thank you for having me. So before you, you have 2 small handouts. The first one is Parkwood Elementary School, so it starts with some renderings. It looks like this. The project in your budget is, we're actually combining 2 of your projects in your budget. You had $1.5 million for classroom addition, and you had $438,000 for some re-roof work. So what we've done is we've combined those into a single project. The scope's changed just a little bit to address some other issues in the building, but what you're seeing there is basically half of the project, which is kind of some front improvements to the building, some cleanup of the existing facility, the addition of a bus canopy, some new landscaping, and some cleanup out front. We're also taking care of some security measures with some trees and so forth that are blocking some views, as well as some vehicular traffic issue improvements. We're able to add about 40 more cars queuing on your property without adding a single piece of asphalt. So just a reorganization of what you already have into a little more logical sense. So we're able to do that with the bus canopy. In addition to the additional queuing, we're able to increase your queuing from 3 cars to 10 cars on drop-off, and the same thing for pickup. So in addition to more cars being off Lombardi Street, they'll move quicker. So we should keep them off Lombardi Street. So that's the goal. And if we ever add more parking and so forth out there, there's a plan in place to do that. What you're seeing here is a small addition outside of what's referred to as the pod, the little area that's with the raised up roof that you see behind you there. Up on the little raised area. This 4 classroom addition, what you're seeing there is a 5th grade classroom pod. And we have some unique situations out at that site, like we don't really have a good storm system in Clarksville around this property. So we're handling your storm water with rain gardens, and we're utilizing those as educational opportunities for the oldest kids in your school. We're also doing some things, these are kind of model classrooms, so we're kind of doing some things with daylight harvesting and some solar acquisition and so forth. So clear story windows, really good access, and so forth. And then the renovation area in the pod, following your renderings, you'll see 2 floor plans. The one is showing the 5th grade addition, and then the last one is showing the canopy. But the one with the 5th grade addition, you'll also see the pod area that we're turning into an English language learning center. Right now, it's an open area. It's a real hodgepodge of spaces. Very difficult to teach in there. They're doing remarkable work with the environments holding them back, so we're going to change the environment, which is where I get to come in, and create a unified and organized English language learning center. So all the construction work will happen in the same place, and then the canopy work out front. So the base bid would be the addition and the renovation. We'll take alternate bids to add all the front canopy work. We'll also take an alternate bid to re-roof the renovation area, as well as a couple other amenities inside that we hope will fit within the budget. Any questions on Parkwood? Yes?
On the re-roofing, Jamie, is there going to be some steeping to the roof? Flat doesn't work very well.
Well, we're not touching the main portions of the roof out there. The main portions of the roof need a lot more attention than your budget could support. So what we've done is we've taken the money for the roof and we've isolated it to that renovation area where we're going to tear up below it. We want to renovate above it, and we can get that area done for sure and get it done correctly. We will increase the insulation. We'll tear everything off completely down to the roof deck, increase the insulation, increase the slope, and keep the exterior perimeter trim. So we're working within fixed lines. We have some fixed lines that we have to work between, so we're trying to maximize the slope within those fixed lines. Okay. So it will increase some drainage. Plus it'll equalize, the surface will be a lot more smooth, so the water will drain more properly in the system that we're moving to.
Okay.
Roofs.
Thank
white
you.
Roofs. Any other questions on Parkwood?
I think so. Pretty good.
Just quickly, the other 4 projects, the roof projects will all be bid independently, so each separately from one another. We do have budget line items for each one of them, and the main goal is to accomplish as much roof work as possible. Our goal, talking with Dr. Hare, our goal has always been always a step forward, never a step back on any of these projects. And whatever we do, we want to leave complete. So I'd rather do 60%, 100% complete than 80%, 50% complete. So that's what we're trying to accomplish. So the first one is Bridgepoint Elementary. We have a budget of $372,000 budgeted. So what we're looking at doing there is the base bid scope of work would be the 2 canopy areas where the students line up and before and after school, as well as the main entry canopy area. So those are in horrific shape and need to be redone. So that'll be our base bid work. Then the south classroom work over the oyster cracker furthest south to the building. That area is in need of some work as well. We will bid that as an alternate and try to get as much accomplished in this phase as we possibly can for 2016. Going on to Pleasant Ridge. Pleasant Ridge has horrendous roof problems in that building. You have a substantial amount of money budgeted for it, just under $1 million, $958,000. That's a lot of money for our roof, which is great because it needs it. So what we're doing is the base bid scope of work is the raised center portion of that building. On the sides of that raised center portion between the upper roof and the lower surrounding roof is where most of your leaks are coming in your building. It's EFIS material over top of a small area of brick. And water's coming through the EFIS, water's coming through the brick. There's no through-wall flashings. There's just some horrendous detailing on that building that we need to fix. So that will be a substantial fix just to get that main center core done. So that's our base bid. And then if we are fortunate enough to have positive bids and we can get the alternate work, we're taking the lower surrounding roof as an alternate. We're not bidding your gymnasium re-roof at this time. There just isn't the money to support it. But Pleasant Ridge roof is in horrendous condition, so this project's going to do tremendous improvements for that building. Even if we could just get the base bid, it'll be 90% of your roof problems. It'll be huge. Utica Elementary on the next page, similar conditions to Pleasant Ridge. The one nice thing is when they built Utica, they did not duplicate all the detailing in the building, and one is they did not duplicate that EFIS material on the side, so it already has metal wall panels there, so that's good. It's not leaking through there. It is leaking through the brick, so we do need to do that. But at $998,000 budgeted for Utica, we can get a lot more base work done. So the base work is that center portion, and then we're taking alternates for all the other sections of the roof. The idea is to get as much of that roof done as possible. And the last one's Charlestown High School. There's this area in the back portion of the buildings, the 1976 portion of the building. The roofs are original for all practical purposes. They're built-up asphalt roofs. They're way past their lifespan. They need to be replaced. We have $235,000 budgeted for that. We won't be able to do all the areas at once in this budget, but we are taking prices for them all. So the base bid would be over what's the old Lutz Gym area. That's the base bid. Then we're taking alternates for atop the stage, atop the auditorium itself, and then for atop the band and choir area. The small elevator and the small entry is in the base bid as well. So there would be one other section beyond the band and choir. The budget just won't support at this time, and it doesn't appear to have the leaking problems the other areas are. So right now, that's the only remaining section beyond this. So after we get this one going, we can look and see where the budget allows and the problems out there and so forth continue, and we can get the rest of this replaced. Any questions on the roof projects?
Much needed.
Much needed.
Thank you for the detailed explanation. We appreciate that.
So on, well, I guess one question. On the roofing projects, now, is this going to be, can we do this while school's in session? I mean, is that all going to be?
Yes, actually, I should share that with you. I'm sorry. We are under the gun on all these to start them fall break. So my plan is to start them all fall break, which is very aggressive. So, you know, tonight we're going to ask you for permission to go out for bids prior to your next meeting. Then it takes about a month to bid. We're going to come back for bids on the 14th of September. They will all bid the same day so that we can bring them to your September 20th board meeting. And what that does is then the following Saturday, October 1st, starts our fall break. So we have a great way that it falls because we do have the full 2 weeks and bookended by 2 weekends. So all of these projects will start on fall break. The roof work's really important to start on fall break, at least to get some nasty tear off and so forth done before the kids come back. And then they will continue to work throughout the school, throughout the semester, the fall semester. But we'll have to monitor the noise and the dust and all that, those kinds of things that just occur with roof projects. But I'm pretty confident that the roof project, as we have scheduled, will work out very well. Parkwood, similarly, the new addition can happen at any time. It's not affecting anybody, but the pod renovation is going to occur, the main demolition over fall break. And so the principal out there is going to vacate that entire area so that we can have the entire area to quickly renovate The faster we can get it back, instead of taking a whole school year, we'll have it done in the first semester, and then they can have their space completed. So we take advantage of the 2 weeks while we have it. The nice thing about it is many areas of the state don't have those breaks, so this fall break is unique because everybody's busy in the summer, but we want them after their busy time is done. It actually allows us to get people a lot easier. It allows the prices to come in more aggressive. So when they're looking for work, we have work to offer, which is really nice. So that is a perk in the fall break schedule.
Does weather impact that much? If you
Shouldn't
have,
on these too badly. Obviously, the roofs are entirely weather dependent, but we've been very fortunate on the rain scales at that time of year. Over the last few years, we've been very fortunate that it's been very positive for re-roof work. You get too much later, it gets more and more difficult. With the cold, you get too much earlier, we never seem to get out of the rain. And this year's been excessively wet, as you know.
okay. All right, thank you, appreciate it.
So, Mr. Pavey, the superintendent's recommendation this time would be approval of the request from Covert Hawkins Architects to release the bond projects 2016 for bidding as presented tonight.
Okay. All right,
So moved.
thank you, Ms. Perkins. And
Second.
thank you, Mr. White. Further questions? All right, all in favor? B50, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pavey. And Board, just before we move on to the next item, just to let you know, we will be bringing a couple of action items to the next board meeting. We are all working fast and furious to get as many of these started before fall break as we can, like Mr. Lake mentioned. So we'll bring some more back to you. The Jersey High Auditorium PR's got some drainage, and we're working on that. We're meeting with the principals. We're scheduling when teachers are going to move out for fall break. So there's a lot of coordination going on behind the scenes too, and we're all working pretty quickly. So we'll keep you up to date as we progress over the next several weeks, okay, on all of that stuff.
Right.
Item number 12, Mr. Pavey, is a social work contract with Glenita Rice. Ms. Rice is a social worker, and we've had several meetings with her and the superintendent, and we feel like she could bring something to the district. So we've worked out a contract with her. This contract proposes that she would work 2 days a week at River Valley in the capacity of a social worker all year, and then she'll do 3 days a week at Bridgepoint Elementary for the first 9 weeks, and that's covering a maternity leave, okay? So that will be covered out of the SIG grant. That's a maternity that she's going to help fill in for at Bridgepoint, and then the general fund would take care of the 2 days at River Valley. So I don't know if you wanted to add anything, Dr. Mellon, or not, but.
Well, obviously, I appreciate your consideration of this. You know, our district is very diverse. We have kids coming from a lot of different backgrounds, and the more support we can provide to our students to assist them as we're helping them reach their maximum potential, the better. And we believe that Ms. Rice has that capacity. She has worked, I think, with the New Albany Floyd County Schools as well in the past, and so we feel we're getting someone of high quality that will do a great job for our students.
All right, thank you.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Ms. Gilkey,
Second.
and thank you, Ms. Perkins. Questions on the work contract? All right, all in favor? B50, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pavey.
Thank you. Next is the IUS Student Field Experience. Dr. Mellon?
Yes, Board, every year we come back to you. We have a great partnership with Indiana University Southeast to provide all kinds of field placement opportunities for teachers. And so tonight I'm recommending that approval of an agreement. It's been reviewed by Mrs. Lewis. There's no cost to our district. As a matter of fact, you know that we're doing everything in our power to try to identify the teachers and at the earliest stages possible and connect with them and bring them into our district. So the recommendation is to approve the agreement with Indiana University Southeast for student-teacher field placement opportunities.
Okay.
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Perkins,
Second.
and thank you, Ms. Zolman. Any questions on the student field experience? All in favor? B50, thank you. All right, moving into reports and requests. Any from the board tonight? Reports or requests? Okay. Next is public comments on non-agenda items. I believe we have one tonight. Mr. Juback? All right. Good evening.
Thank you. Want me to pass those out for you?
Okay. So, Juback, you'll have a 3-minute period to address the board, and Ms. Markowski will have a timer going on, and so, let's see here. All right, good evening.
Good evening. So first off, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Timothy Juback, and this is my family, my wife Heidi, my son Kyle, who we'll be speaking about, and then my daughter Kayla. We recently moved up here to the Louisville, Southern Indiana area from Northern Virginia, via originally from Tampa Bay area. My job brought us here from Northern Virginia, and when researching the area and deciding where we wanted to live and where we wanted to, plant roots for our family, because we're going to be here for, some time with this position, we were looking at both Louisville and then also Southern Indiana. Obviously, in Kentucky, there's still laws in the state Senate trying to get passed called the Tim Tebow bill to allow homeschool students to play sports at their local schools, their local public schools. We chose to move to Indiana because in 2013, you'll see number 3 here, starting 2014 school year, the IHSAA rules they allowed for homeschool students to play at the local high school. Originally, Rep. Tim Wesco introduced this legislation in 2011, and unfortunately the bill died in the state Senate, but IHSAA stated that they would take care of this on their own. I've gone through the process talking with the assistant coach at the high school, Charleston High School, the head coach, the athletic director, the assistant principal, the principal, and then up to the superintendent and the assistant superintendent. I've followed this whole process, and based on the laws and the rules that are stated, it seems that it's up to the superintendent to allow my child, based on meeting certain criteria, which we discussed in length, and he meets all of the criteria, to allow him to enroll in 1 class per day, and he still has to maintain a full schedule at home during his homeschool time, and then that's an additional class, so he has to go above and beyond what a regular student would have to. But we feel that, as homeschool parents, we're just like any other parents of any other kids that go to these schools. We pay taxes, and those contribute to the school system. Even though we homeschool our children, we want our son and daughter to be part of the community, and we've taught them to, many different things to be good citizens and to have duty to their fellow man. We would like them to have the opportunity to plug into the local community through the public school system. While academics are the primary focus of our homeschool program, life skills are extremely important to our family and to our kids. And so participating in interscholastic activities help foster a team spirit. They teach them valuable lessons for life, as you all know. They help them develop friendship, cooperation, leadership, and respect for teammates and others. And then enclosed in the packet, I know my time's coming to end, but enclosed in the packet, just so you know, is basically the Greater Clark County School Board Corporation bylaws and policies. And there's actually 2 different policies that Dr. Mellon and I spoke about, and they sort of contradict each other, because the first one, 2431 there, basically says that the school board and the corporation is going to follow everything that IHSAA states, as long as they follow their policies. And in the IHSAA policy, it allows for homeschool students to play sports But then the second policy there, let's see. The second one, 9270, creates a gray area. You'll see it's highlighted on page 4. It said the board shall not allow a resident student who is being educated at non-accredited or homeschooled to participate in any corporation's co-curricular or extracurricular activities. But then the second paragraph, a resident student who's being educated at non-accredited or homeschool may, however, enroll in one or more academic courses with the approval of the superintendent. So it basically puts it in the superintendent's hands to allow, my son to be able to enroll in that one class, create that social atmosphere to where he can, have friends and teammates and also contribute to the team. And I understand, as Dr. Mon and I spoke, that, they want to first give everybody, all the students that are full-time, the opportunity to benefit from this. And, this is not a right, but it's a privilege to play sports. And after speaking with the coach and the principal and then talking about my son, and you'll see his test scores are attached here as well at the very back. His testing for his freshman year, last year, he scored in post-high school level in everything except for language mechanics, which he still scored above his grade level. He scored at a 10th grade, third month. So he's a very, we're very proud of him. He is extremely focused on academics. He'll graduate his senior year with an associate's degree, and we just want him to have the ability to play football and do what he's passionate about. So I'd ask that you consider that, and then I'm not sure what the
Generally, what we do is we take it under advisement. We very much appreciate your comments tonight as well. We take this under advisement. We'll talk to the superintendent, go through policy, and then superintendent will circle back with you and discuss, I guess, what we've decided. So, but
Okay.
Again, I appreciate you, welcome you to the area, and welcome your family, and we very much appreciate your comments tonight.
All right,
So,
thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Okay, we're down to board comments. I'm sorry, my PC died on me again. So, Mr. White, any board comments
I
tonight?
have nothing, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Perkins?
Nothing.
Okay. Ms. Zolman?
Nothing
Ms.
today.
Gilkey?
No, sir.
All right. Dr. Millen, how did the opening of school go? Any?
Very well overall. A lot of our principals thought it was an extremely smooth transition, and that's a tribute to the staffs and the leadership that comes out of each of our buildings. And so obviously with a district our size, there are always going to be some minor adjustments that need to be made, and those have been made. And so, it's hard to believe that we already have 8 days of school under our belt, 9 days as of today. And so here we go. So things are going well. And so I really want to give a lot of credit to our staff for all of the work. All 1,400 employees, it takes every single one of them to make a difference, and they've done a great job. And also just a reminder, board, this Friday we'll be hosting representatives from Ford Next Generation Learning out of Nashville and Alignment Nashville. We'll have a series of meetings throughout the day Friday with a lot of community leaders and several of you involved in many of those meetings. And again, it's making sure that for Next Generation Learning, we start to transition into the master planning phase, but also the consideration of alignment, an alignment concept that would bring, even go outside of our own school system and bring a lot of regional entities together, all for the purpose of improving the quality of our community. And that's been a key in Nashville, as several of you know that. And if we can bring that to this area, the Community Foundation has provided $15,000 in funding support to begin looking at that process. So this Friday is going to be a pretty exciting day as we move forward.
All right, good. All right, with that, we have adjournment. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Perkins.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Zolman. All in favor? Be 5-0. Good evening.